Hello from Myrtle Beach. Today we are going to share with you everything you need to know about Myrtle Beach in the month of May. We're going to talk about the events, the weather, the crowds, and all the stuff you need to know about what's open and what's going on here at Myrtle Beach in May and what Myrtle Beach is really like in the month of May. Hi, I'm Carmen. If you're new here, we cover everything Myrtle Beach and the surrounding area. And if you're a return viewer, welcome back. We are so glad to have you with us. It is a gorgeous day today. We're filming this in the morning, so it's not packed yet, but there's some people out enjoying this beautiful day on the beach. We are getting into tourist season, but other than some events I'm going to talk about, May is not too crowded, other than two pretty major events, plus of course Memorial Day weekend is packed. But there are some little windows you can get in during the month of May to avoid the crowds. So let's talk about the weather, and then we'll move on to events, and then we'll talk about crowds. So weather-wise, May is variable. You would think May would be hot, but it can be hot, but it can also have like a cool night here or there. It's going to be pretty warm during the day, decently warm, but you can have cool days. Last year on Memorial Day, it was cool and rainy, which was crazy the whole weekend. You can't ever be sure it's going to be warm, but once you get to about mid-May, it's a pretty sure thing that's going to be decently warm. You've got good chances at that point. You can look at the historical averages for temperatures if you want more detail, or we did a video on what Myrtle Beach weather is like in the spring, and we detail everything about the month of May, including all those historical averages, water temperatures, all of that stuff is in that video. So that is in a playlist below that's called Myrtle Beach Weather. You can click on that for more information. That's in the description below this video. But also about weather, so I mentioned water temperature. The water temperature in mid-May finally gets warm enough for most people to swim. It depends on your constitution when it comes to cold water, and it also depends on the outside temperature. You don't want to get in the ocean and swim. If it's freezing and windy when you get out of the ocean, that's not fun. So it really depends on a lot of variables whether you want to swim in the ocean in May. So May is another one of those months that if you love to swim or you have children who love to be in the water, you might want to think about staying at a resort that has either an indoor pool or a heated pool. So that way you have options in case it is a little too cool outside to swim in the ocean for you. I've seen people already swimming in the ocean, so it's like I said, it depends on the person, it depends on your cold tolerance, and like I said, it also depends on how hot it is. If it's 90 degrees outside, it doesn't really matter if the water's a little cool. When you come out, it'll be nice and warm. It just depends on all of those things. If you're curious about where we are while we're filming this, we are on Myrtle Beach. It is part of the Grand Strand in South Carolina. And we are at the south end of Hotel Row. Hotel Row is a strip on Ocean Boulevard in Myrtle Beach that has the majority of the high-rise hotels. So that's where we are right now. And like I said, we're towards the southern end. We try to mix up where we film so you get to see different parts of Myrtle Beach. So you can go back to some of our other monthly videos that we do talking about each month if you'd like to see other parts of us walking on Myrtle Beach. Also, if you would like to see more about Myrtle Beach and learn more about Myrtle Beach, definitely hit that subscribe button because we put out videos once or twice a week and we keep up with everything that's going on in Myrtle Beach and the surrounding area, so you won't miss a thing. And also, if you're enjoying this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. That helps other people find our video, and we greatly appreciate that. So let's talk about the events that are going on in this month of May. It's a long list, so you're going to have to bear with me as I read off all of the events, and I'll give any commentary that I have surrounding the events, and then we're going to talk about crowds, so stay tuned for that. The first event in May is Ocean Drive Beach Music Festival, May 4th at 10 a.m. in North Myrtle Beach at Main Street. A lot of people don't know this, but the shag dancing started in North Myrtle Beach. They are famous for that. North Myrtle Beach is a city that is just north of Myrtle Beach, as you would expect. So on their main street, they're going to be having that festival on May 4th. Surfside Beach, which is just south of Myrtle Beach, is going to have a BBQ Festival May 4th on Surfside Drive. The Smoke on the Beach BBQ Festival will be May 10th and 11th at the old pavilion site on Ocean Boulevard and 9th Avenue North. So if you're not familiar with the old pavilion site, that's right where the main boardwalk is, the traditional part of the boardwalk. There's an empty field there, and that is where they have that festival. We do have a video of that festival, so I'll link that in the description below if you're curious to find out more about that. Myrtle Beach Spring Bike Rally is May 10th through the 19th, and the headquarters for that is in Murrells Inlet, but they do spread out beyond Murrells Inlet, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Next up is the world famous Blue Crab Festival, May 18th and 19th in Little River at the waterfront. Then the Atlantic Beach Bike Week is May 24th through the 27th, so Memorial Day weekend. Although many people decide to stay longer either before or after that weekend, it is located in Atlantic Beach, which is just north of Myrtle Beach. However, many people actually stay in Myrtle Beach proper for this event, so there is definitely a lot more motorcycle traffic in Myrtle Beach. With that event, it brings thousands of bikers to the area. Also, Military Appreciation Days Parade, Family Picnic, and Exhibits is May 25th through the 27th at the Market Common, and also the parade is on Ocean Boulevard. The Corvettes at the Beach Car Show is May 31st through June 1st at Broadway at the beach. So that is actually not every event, but those are the larger events that are here in May. Hopefully you heard of something that interests you, or it can help you avoid crowded times. So that's what I wanted to talk about next is crowds. The first week in May and other parts of May around these bike festivals is not too bad. And if you're staying towards the north end of Myrtle Beach or in North Myrtle Beach, and really even in the middle of Myrtle Beach, you're not going to be affected that much by the spring bike rally that's in Murrells Inlet, because most of those people stay at the south end of Myrtle Beach, so say south of the Skywheel, or in Surfside Beach, or in Murrells Inlet, or Garden City. So the bulk of the people for that first bike festival, that's the 10th through the 19th, are going to be on the south end. So you can keep that in mind. It also brings thousands of motorcycle and bikers to the area, which of course adds to the traffic. So that's why I want to mention it to you. If you're into that, you may love it, but if you're not, there's just going to be a lot more congestion on the roads. Take it from us as locals, it really brings a lot of people to the area and slows down traffic. Then the other bike festival that I mentioned, that's Memorial Day weekend, obviously it's Memorial Day weekend, and guess what Memorial Day weekend is? It's the first major 3-day weekend when it's warm enough to say, hey, I want to go to the beach. I mean, sure, some people come spring break, but most people want to wait till it's warm enough to swim in the ocean and lay out on the beach. So even if we did not have a bike festival, that is a super crowded time. Other than the 4th of July, it's probably the most crowded time. And actually, sometimes I think it's more crowded than the 4th of July. It's hard to say. They're right up there together. And so also that bike festival, even though I mentioned that it's technically in Atlantic Beach, which is north of Myrtle Beach, that brings a ton of bikers to Myrtle Beach proper. Despite where it's headquartered, it brings a lot of bikers to the area. And so again, if you are not a fan of traffic, that might be a weekend and a few days before and after that you want to avoid. The other times in May are fair. You know, I'm not saying they're deserted. There's definitely going to be people here, but it's not nearly as crowded as either during Memorial Day or a little bit that second week. But even like I said, that bike festival does not affect Myrtle Beach proper quite as much. So in any case, other than Memorial Day weekend, May is going to be less crowded than your typical summer crowds. Early June is also a pretty good time crowds-wise, because a lot of schools don't get out until sometime in June. And so if parents have school-age kids, a lot of vacations don't start till mid to end of June. So we will obviously do a video talking about June specifically, but if you're trying to pick a time that's less crowded, because anytime it's less crowded, you're going to have a better time, but also your hotel's probably going to be cheaper, or your Vrbo or whatever you rent while you're here is probably going to be cheaper if it's a less crowded time. So I don't know if you can see it on the film, but there's a parasailer out there. So they're brave enough to hit the water. And you've got some people swimming here. So like I said, you know, depends on your constitution. If you have any questions about the month of May, definitely ask those in the comments below. We will do our best to answer all of your questions and bring you as much information as we can. If you'd like to learn more about Myrtle Beach and the surrounding area, be sure to click on the video on your screen right now. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.